Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. It's only natural that when trying to deepen a relationship, you're on your best behavior. Alas, that leads many partners to be shocked when, for example, after the wedding, sweetie changes. Sometimes the change is obvious. The person gets skinny for the wedding and then soon blimps out. Other times it's less obvious. Before moving in, he or she was interested in what you've been doing and what you've been thinking. But afterwards, it's me first, take you for granted. Before the wedding, he or she puts you on a pedestal. And when there was disagreement, he or she managed to find common ground or some other equitable solution. Now it's fire and brimstone. Before tying the knot, you were sexually compatible. Now, she's withholding, or he's withholding. Early on, he or she claimed to be committed to career, but soon after the rice was thrown, noises began about quitting and leaving you with 100% of the family's financial burden. Before the wedding bells chimed, he or she didn't seem addictive, but soon after, substance abuse, spendaholism, or anger issues exploded in your face. Ah! Of course, many couples don't encounter such surprises. What you saw was what you got. But in my coaching practice, I have so often heard, he or she changed completely, but there was no way of knowing. Not necessarily. There often are warning signs. Regarding weight, it's unfortunate but true that like most human characteristics, weight has a genetic component. So if your partner leans toward the chunky, despite careful eating, there is risk that later on, major weight increase awaits. It is just difficult to be careful enough, often enough, about eating for a lifetime. I mean, you can be good for 5 meals in a row, and if you have the tendency to gain weight, a single cheat can be a net weight gain. Gain just a pound every 2 weeks, and you've gained 26 pounds in just 1 year. And if a person is of normal weight, but tends to pork out, as one's metabolism slows, their exercise decreases, and the complacency sets in from your having committed till death do us part, a big weight gain is likely. Before the wedding, he or she may often enough resist. I'd love some pizza or ice cream. No, but I won't. But after the nuptials, it's just once. Right. The next worrisome thing to look out for early is they're caring about you. An early warning sign is if you ask about your partner more than he or she asks about you. You're going out of your way to please him or her, even to your detriment, more than he or she does for you. For example, beware if after both of you put in a long work day, he or she usually wants to be left alone for the evening, while you're more often asking about and really listening to your partner and offering to be helpful. The next danger area is disagreeing lovingly. It's a good sign if even when stressed, your partner rarely expands the conversation, expands the argument that is, but rather finds a way to kindly come to agreement. For example, let's say you forgot your partner's birthday. Does your partner say, I understand you're swamped at work, but I feel a little uncared about. Might I ask you to be a little more mindful in the future? Or is your partner likely to shriek, you are so selfish, so self-absorbed, so narcissistic. This is just one example. Remember last week when I wanted to go see Grandma and you said you want to watch the game? Selfish, egotistical, narcissistic, and don't you try to gaslight me telling me I'm crazy. Next area to look out for is sexual compatibility. Incompatibility can reign early in a relationship. For example, because he's eager while she needs more time. But after the first, say, 10 get-togethers, if one person is much hotter to trot than the other, beware. In the old days, low sexual desire was often caused by hang-ups, religious or psychological. But today, that more likely reflects a physiologically lower sex drive, or a psychological issue so deeply rooted that it may be difficult to ameliorate. The next area to look out for is substance abuse. In the beginning of a relationship, abusers tend to hide their problem. Look for signs of such hiding. For example, they're appearing under the influence but claiming not to have used a substance. Ask questions neutrally so as not to reveal your perspective. For example, hey, now recreational pot is legal. What are your thoughts on that? Next area to watch out for are anger issues. Some people go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. In the beginning of the relationship, you may see it start to happen, but the person usually pulls on ropes of restraint, although occasionally can't. If yelling happens more than very occasionally, beware. And I believe that even one instance of being physically abusive to you is a serious warning sign. Next area of potential concern about a change for the worse would be working. Some people claim that they intend to bring in some significant income during the marriage, or real significant income. Yet soon after the wedding, the person, quote, changes his or her mind, or claims, for example, that the job market is bad, or that he or she needs to stay home full-time to be a parent, a helicopter parent probably. It's worth probing this directly, again using a neutral tone. How clear are you that you plan to keep working after we're married? How about after we have kids? Next potential area for decline is spending addiction. We all occasionally buy things we don't need, or we spring for a fancier version when a more modest one's fine. But if your partner seems too enamored of Beamers, Coach purses, or $300 ripped jeans, beware. Spendaholism tends to reflect an emotional hole that the person tries to fill by buying stuff, but the hedonic treadmill moves ever faster until the person or the partner falls off. In sum, having had conversations about relationships with countless clients and friends, I still believe in love, indeed long-term relationships. In fact, I have been with my wife for 45 years. But the love highway is littered with roadkill. Be alert to the aforementioned warning signs, and it can help you find a relationship that thrives through the long trip. Thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko.